Every time something of this magnitude happens in the world, I am filled with an overwhelming sense of dread and sadness. As a child and young person of the 90s and 2000s, to be able to witness war in other countries in real time, now through our virtual connection, is an assault on my senses. That's just a sliver of the people experiencing brutality in their homes, on their streets, families slaughtered. It's very easy for my very American, first world perch in the world to make assumptions based on what I read. What I do know is that even in America, we give no context to our issues here. We constantly tuck away hundreds and thousands of years of history of abuse and oppression. And this is in our own country. We brush things off as a them problem. When we are them, they are we. And we are complicated. We are complex. Human history is covered in seas of blood, centuries and multitudes of generations of misunderstanding and fights for survival and control. One thing is a fact. Every single one of our children sets foot onto the ground, walking into a world we create for them by our own participation or lack thereof. How do we make things better in this situation when Israel is a world away to most? I don't know. It feels completely out of anything I can possibly affect or control. And that helplessness is not something that I like to sit in, because it leads to fear. Fear of a seemingly normal day shattered. My own false security in my part of the world disrupted. Because we really, really want to believe that that is not possible. And that delusion leaves us vulnerable. It leaves our children vulnerable. So these issues a world away become something I make about my own personal insecurities. Those insecurities that maybe, if I close my eyes long enough, will disappear like the boogeyman. Or even better, my eyes are wide open, I see and then discard to the trash bin in my mind, so I can go about my day. There is so much out of my control. What I can control is my own voice and asking for fairness, and for people to care enough to look deeper for history on these world issues. Asking for people to care because our country is involved, meaning we are also involved. Who do you think this really benefits? History will not look back at this time favorably. Politicians, leaders, public figures that choose to be dismissive of verifiable facts will leave us wondering why. Especially in a time that information is not so hard to come by. Because if what we are really worried about is Israeli lives, innocent lives, we will be worried about how this happened in the first place. Let's not forget, the Holocaust was a systematic, state-sponsored persecution and murder of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime and its allies and collaborators. It took place between 1933 and 1945. People not just murdered in cold blood, but made to live like caged animals, discarded like trash. This happened for over a decade, while governments save face. Many people didn't know what was happening until too late. Many people like us didn't want to believe that this actually could be happening, that their people could somehow be a part of this. All parts of society, upper, middle, lower class, good people, people who knew better, silenced, scared. Many Germans were good people who wanted nothing to do with the Nazi Germany that Hitler established. People bullied and coerced into going along with this. We are building a legacy for our children, an inheritance. There are some very blatant wrongs and rights in the world. We teach our kids that adults can't handle objective conversations. And when people can't discuss issues without being dismissive or argumentative or close-minded, how do we ever bring about positive change? So many problems are solved by us just admitting that sometimes we don't have all the facts, and sometimes we're wrong. I worry about the safety of my child, your child, and the children in Gaza. We are not alone. They are not alone. Not if we choose to not be silenced in asking why. Just ask why.